All right, hey there. All right, this is going to be where I tell you about the poverty paper. Um, I'm going to go over it from beginning to end. I've got the paper right here. Um, the paper is also on Moodle with all of the same stuff, so if you need to go back and look at it, it's there for you. But we'll go ahead and get started. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to create a chart showing your monthly expenses. Or, so basically, everything that you spend money on and what is spent on you by somebody else. So, for instance, if you don't pay for your cell phone, you would still put that on there because even if somebody else is paying for it, it's still something that it's still an expense because they're providing it for you to use. So, what you spend yourself and also what is spent on you. And I've got There's examples on Moodle to look at to give you an idea of the kind of stuff you would list. No, but other stuff will include, your housing. So like at the dorm, excuse me, I apologize. Whenever I talk, for some reason, when I record videos, I yawn a lot. Apologize for that. But so you'll include housing, so like your dorm. You would go to tuition and fees on camelsville.edu, find the cost of your dorm per semester, and divide that by 4. And that'll give you how much your monthly rent is. Like I said, even if you're not technically paying for it at this time, it's still being provided for you. So that's how you would come up with like your rent or your housing, your dorm. So there's that. Um, let's see. You will also include tuition in this. Like I said, even if you're not paying for it, I still want it listed. So what I'll be looking for is not is the real cost of Camelsville. So regardless of financial aid or anything like that, I don't want the actual real cost for it. So what you would do is also go to tuition and fees on camelsville.edu, and you would find the amount per semester, and you would also divide that by 4, just like your dorm, and that would give you monthly how much tuition costs per month. Because we're in school about 8 months, so about 4 for each semester. So that's why you would divide the tuition by 4 and also the housing by 4 as far as the semester cost. Like I said, that'll give you how much your dorm costs per month and how much the monthly tuition is at Campbellsville. So again, you'll do that stuff and also list any kind of like cell phone, food. Um, if you have any kind of subscriptions like to Netflix or anything like that, so you would include that stuff on there. But again, I've got an example on Moodle for you to look at, so you can check that out. So that's the first thing. The second thing, you're going to do a second chart. However, the second chart is going to be different. You're going to assume that you live alone, which if you live in the dorms, you do basically live alone. So live alone, and you're going to go into the second budget as if you're poor, but above poverty, as defined by the U.S. government. So what that means is your income is $265.83 a week, $1,063.33 a month, and $12,760 a year. So the number I want you to focus on is the $1,063.33. For the second budget, that's going to be your limit. So that's as high as you can go on the second budget. So you're going to have to figure out what how you're going to make that work. So you're going to have all the expenses you listed in the first chart except tuition. With the second one, I'm not having you list tuition. The reason I have you list it in the first one is because I want to illustrate how much college actually costs. Like as a college student, how much it's costing you per month to go to Campbellsville. But we'll just assume in the second budget it's covered by financial aid, just the tuition. So in the first budget you'll list the tuition. The second budget with the $1,063.33 do not list the tuition. We'll just assume that financial aid pays for it. But but everything else in your first budget, your dorm, cell phone, food, anything like that, you have to list it in this. if the amount is higher than the $1,063.33, then you will need to go ahead and figure out what you need to do to get it under that amount. So, for instance, like your dorm, it's going to cost at least $1,000 a month, if not more. So, you're obviously going to have to move off campus. So, you'll have to research and find a different place to live than the dorm. You can just do that by going to Google and searching for houses for rent or apartments for rent in Campbellsville, Kentucky. So, let's see. So the cuts are going to be realistic. So like with your housing, that would be one. That's like a realistic cut. So you'll do that chart. Remember the limit on it is 1063.33. So you've got that, and then you will take a stand after you create both budgets. You're going to take a stance in the paper. You're going to argue whether you think the poverty guidelines are realistic or if they're not realistic. And you can take either side of the story. It doesn't matter. You can say, yes, they are realistic and give your reasoning, or you can say, no, they're not realistic. You can tell me why. I've had students take both sides of the argument, so it's up to you. Once you create the budgets and, you look at that, you can decide for yourself if you think they're realistic or not. And then in the paper, essay paper, I want you to tell me why. I want you to defend your stance on that topic. I want you to use things from the textbook. So like chapter 9, like the PowerPoint that's online, I want you to use a few terms from that. Also, you could use either the videos, the Waging a Living video or the Price of the American Dream video. And both of those links are on YouTube. On Moodle, and so you can go on there on the Moodle course page. And again, there's everything you need is on Moodle. But you can click on those links for the videos, and you can watch those on YouTube. And also, there's an article called Nickel and Dimed on there. You can read through that and use that if you want. If you don't want to, that's fine. You don't need to worry about it. But I do want you to utilize the textbook in at least one of the videos. And so here are some things I want you to answer, some things I want you to tell me in the paper. So what expenses would you have to cut? I want you to tell me what it would be like to live like that. Like if you had to cut some things out, how would that affect your life? Like what would it be like to live without those things? For example, if you don't have a car, how would you get around? How would you transport yourself from one place to another? What would be your transportation? Another thing, could you live where you currently live? Well, if you're in the dorms, no, because like I said, it's going to take up almost the entire budget or more, depending on what dorm you live in. So, if you can't, where would you live? Like I said, you'll just go online and, you can Google places for rent or apartments for rent, houses for rent in Campbellsville, Kentucky. You can search for that and try to find something that would fit into your budget that's a lot more realistic than the cost of the dorm. If you want to, what you can do is you can get a roommate or two roommates. Let's say you find a place, but it's like $750. Well, if you want to, you could say, well, I found this place, but I'm going to get two roommates that are going to split the cost for me. So 750 divided by 3 is $250. So that would be a lot cheaper than having to pay the whole thing. So if you find a place and you want to get a roommate, that's fine. But if you want to live alone also, that's fine. So again, it's up to you, whichever one that you want to do. I want you to tell me the likelihood of affording Campbellsville University on this budget. Do you have scholarships? Do parents or guardian help you pay for college? Would another college or no college be more realistic, and how would that affect your future? So I know in the first budget we list the tuition, the second one we don't. We assume it's covered by financial aid, but I want you to talk to me and say, or tell me, if I didn't have financial aid, would you be able to afford Campbellsville? So I just want you to talk about that. And then if you couldn't, how would that affect your future? Would you be able to go to another college or no college at all? How would that set your future up then? So I want you to tell me that. Also, how would the quality of your life change on this budget? And think in terms of your future. So like owning a home, retirement, marriage, kids, vacations. Would this type of budget, the 106333, would that allow you to have those things? And so I want you to talk about that. And then what would you eat? You don't have to give me a big list of food, but I do want you to tell me about 5 or 6 things that would be the main things you would eat or drink on this budget. So again, I don't want a long list, a long grocery list, but if you tell me 5 or 6 things as far as the main things you would eat or drink on this budget, then that'll be fine. So those are the things I want you to do. And with food, I want you to put at least $150 worth of food in your budget. Sorry. If you want to put more, that's fine, but I want at least $150 of it for food. So again, those are some questions that I want you to answer, and if you answer those questions in the essay in the paper, you'll have more than enough to meet the length requirement. Excuse me. So I'm going to get to the specifics as far as page length and stuff. It is an opinion paper, so again, you can take either side of the argument. There's no right or wrong answer, but I do want you to utilize sociological concepts. So, like I said, for instance, use some things from the textbook, use things from the video. So use sociology and sociological terms when you're trying to tell me whether it's realistic or it's not realistic. Also, now the requirements. So the paper should be 3 pages, 12 font, Times New Roman, double spaced. Let's see. The cover page and works cited page do not count for the 3 pages, so I want 3 pages of actual writing. Let's see. Also, for citing, as far as in the paper and making the work cite, I want you to follow ASA guidelines. That's American Sociological Association guidelines, and those are on Moodle too. I've got 2 different files on there that'll tell you how to cite within the paper, but then also how to cite as far as the reference page goes. So that's on there for you to use. And when you're citing those things, if you want to ask me and say, is this the way I should cite this, or does this look right on the works cited page? If you want me to look over that before you turn it in, I'd be glad to do that. So if you have questions on that, you can just let me know. So this is how I want the paper organized. I want a cover page, the 3 pages of writing, the real budget, then the poverty budget or the fake budget, and then the works cited page. So it should be 7 pages total. So 1 page of the cover page, the 3 pages of writing, the real budget, the poverty or fake budget, and then the works cited page. It's due November 17th. So with that in mind, you've got about a week and a half to get this done. So I would start on it as soon as you can. But like when you're doing this paper, if you have any questions over, like I said, anything with as far as the citations go, if you or anything else, it's not even just the citations, but stuff within the paper, just ask me and let me know. I'll be glad to answer any of your questions, because I know this is a lot to tell you all at once. So any questions, just let me know, okay? And I'll be glad to help you out. So, again, November 17th is when it's due. I would do your budgets as soon as you can and send them to me, and I'll look over them for you. Like I said, start on as soon as possible. And any questions, just let me know. All right, bye.